Welcome back to Random Romania. You've not seen me for a while. Sorry about not uploading videos. You remember this guy, Wim? You'll remember him because I got his name wrong on the last video. And well, he came here to join the community and collaborate with me on the community. Stayed a few months and then promptly changed his mind and decided that Chile looked more appealing. So we've also become friends and talked in great depth about this whole community idea because he's very much into similar kind of ideas and concepts to me, and come to the conclusion that actually we've got a better idea. And that's part of the reason for my pause, because I wanted to think through it very carefully. Anyway, so basic idea, Wim's moving to Chile and he's introduced me to this guy who's going to feature in this video talking about Chile, because I want to compare Romania and Chile in terms of a location to relocate to, like I relocated to Romania, and more of my content going forward is going to be Romania versus other places to relocate to. You know, the world is changing rapidly, and people come to me, and I've met hundreds of people through my channel that are very interesting, and it's broadened my mind about my possibilities and opportunities as well. Because I pretty much kept myself to myself all these years living in Romania, and the world is getting kind of exciting and interesting now. We have access to like virtually all the information to ever existed on record, it seems. So yeah, it's a bit of a shake-up and a new plan. So anyway, that's the basic idea, what to look forward to in the future. We're going to make video, we'll carry on with the interviews, we'll carry on talking about real estate and land and all that, and all the practical issues with living in Romania. But we're also going to start making these comparison videos. So this chap, Jim, who's going to be on in a minute, he lives in Chile, he's an American, and we're going to go through a few points, Romania versus Chile, and see if you like the video. If you like this approach and you think it's a good idea, I'm going to make more videos. Just comment as usual below and ask any questions you want. One final closing thought. What's got me thinking is that many people who've come to me to talk about the community, they're clearly traveling the world, pretty much, many of them, looking for something they can call home. And it's this kind of abstract thing. And I think actually it's just about family and friends and fitting in somewhere. And I don't think you can make that like building a community to offer that. I think that's something in yourself that you have to find, you know, and I think I've been barking up the wrong tree to some extent. Like I said, meeting all these fantastic people through my channel has been a game changer for me. So I'm just thinking about what direction I want to take and exactly what I want to be doing with my time and energy, because I really believe in what I do, really enjoy it. I love Romania. I personally will never leave Romania unless some kind of emergency. But I want to broaden my horizons a bit, maybe travel a bit and keep making videos and making better content and try and figure out how to make a living from that, because I really enjoy it. And this isn't some kind of change of heart on Romania. Like I said, I love Romania. I will stay here, but I want to try and do something that feels right and feels like I'm doing something good and helping people. And this is the direction things are naturally taking me. So keep watching the channel, and thanks again for coming back. Bye for now. Right, so this is Jim. Can you explain to me a little about yourself and what you do?
I'm Jim Dorchak. I'm from South Carolina, United States. I've lived in Chile for the past 11 years. Part of that is I provide services here, relocation services for people interested in moving to Chile. Primarily, that group is Chile Expat Family Chat Group in Telegram. It's about 130 members. It's a private paid subscription group. In that group, I have a team of Chileans who help assist me to give you good, accurate information about Chile so that you can make an adult informed decision. I'm not here to convince you to move here. I'm here to help you make that decision. So I have attorneys for immigration. I have a doctor, a dentist, a mechanic, 2 builders, and 3 real estate agents. And I happen to be one of those agents. And we have people from all over the world in our group, not just the United States, England, France, Germany, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Poland, Slovenia, Singapore. So that's who I am. Been doing this for a while, and I enjoy it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, my name's Ed, as you know, and I have a channel called Random Romania, and basically I talk about Romania from my perspective, as I've lived here for 23 years, and lots been going on in the world last few years, and we've been talking about building community here. And as time has progressed, and lots of people have contacted me from my channel, I've started realizing that many of those people are comparing Romania with other places. And I thought it would be interesting to start making videos about Romania versus other locations. So the plan was to go through a few points with you and see how that goes, and see if people like the video. And then if they do, we'll do more. So that's the plan. So you like that? Cool. Good. So we'll start off then, if you're okay, with growing your own food. Now, tell me a bit about what it's like to grow your food there. Particularly what I'm interested in is the climate and any rules and regulations and what you can and can't do.
For us in Chile, we have a homestead perspective, which I think that's an American term. Ed, I could be wrong, but basically our goal is to grow all our own food. There's no restrictions on what we can grow here in Chile. There is no government interference with us at all, no licensing, no permitting, no fees, with a few exceptions. Potatoes, they're very particular. You have to have a permit to grow potatoes because it's one of the major crops here in Chile. And they supply seed potatoes to the rest of the world. In the case of that potato famine thing, which they did before, they provided that for Ireland. So we have no restrictions on our growing other than our season. And we're in a temperate rainforest, which means it's cool. We have like 4 or 5, maybe 10 frosts a year at most, and in our winters. So greenhouse is necessary for some items, but a lot of our I think they're called brassicas. I'm not the gardener, Lori is, like your cabbages, celery, spinach, acelga, all those, we can grow that year round.
And what about keeping animals?
Right now, our only limitation to keeping animals is the limitation of the size of our property. I don't do dairy because I think that's too painful. I don't want to endure that, and I don't want to put that on my family either. But I do have beef cattle. 2, we always go buy 2, and we're one's getting ready to jump in the freezer anytime. We have right now we have about 10 pigs. We have, and we're upping our pig production. We are expanding that. We have laying hens, and we raise 120 broilers a year. So laying hens, geese, ducks, rabbits, do a lot of meat, rabbits, and sheep. Sheep are dual purpose. They cut the grass, which is great, and they taste yummy. We have about 10 sheep.
There's no real rules and regulations, or you don't have inspections or anything like that. You just behave responsibly, and you don't have any problems.
Our local government, I want to say municipality for lack of a better term, but it's more detailed than that. A government program will actually come out to our farm and help us with our animal husbandry, making sure that they're disease free and that the flies aren't eating them up, and they don't have worms and everything. That even is a rabies shot for our dogs and our cats. The last time the guy was here, he helped me castrate some of my piglets, my male pigs. Which I do myself, and I do for my cattle and my sheep too. But he offered, the government's paying him. I'm not going to say no. So
yeah. But generally they were supportive and pro.
Oh
farming. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I it's something I want to get into, but not something I'm doing at the moment. So on this particular subject, I think I'm going to let people comment on the video, because I'm curious to have anybody who's watching this. Curious to have Romanians come back and explain to me how it is doing this kind of farming here, because it's something I very much want to get into. No doubt I'll come and speak to you about it, because I recently, as anybody who's seen some of my early videos will realize, I've lost a lot of weight since I started making videos, and that's because I've gone on this kind of mainly meat and protein diet, and the weight's just fallen off. So I've become very conscious that, like, I really want to grow my own meat. I'm disappointed with what I can buy in the supermarkets. I think there's a lot of
Yes.
people out there that this is very important to. So food and meat production, growing my own food, is something I very much want to get into in the future and covering on my channel. So that's interesting. Right, next subject. Sorry, go on.
I would invite you to come visit me if you would like, and I will teach you how to process animals if you don't know. Because when I was 14, I'm almost 62. I worked in the slaughtering house for 8 years. It was totally illegal, but I made a lot of money, and I learned how to process animals cleanly, humanely, and properly.
Yeah. Very, very interesting stuff. I certainly, one of the things I want to do more of in the future is traveling. So we've been trying to set up this community here, and as time has passed, and I've started meeting people that have contacted me through my channel, I've started thinking a bit differently about the whole community idea and realizing that actually, I'm going to do something a little bit different and start focusing more on my video content and making this kind of content, because the whole idea of setting up a community, it's a very nice idea, but when you start speaking to lots of different people, you realize everybody has a different idea of what this thing should be and how to do it. And actually, it's more about where you can make your home, and that's about much more than a physical place. And so this is where we're going to take the content on the channel, and but we'll talk more about that later. So the next subject, because I want to sort of, this is going to be like, for my channel anyway, this is going to be a kind of concept video to see if people like it, and the idea being to compare Romania with other countries. And because many of the people who contact me, they're not just looking at Romania. They contact me because they're looking at various countries in Eastern Europe or even South America. I mean, for example, Paraguay keeps coming up for one reason or another again and again. People who contact me about Romania say, "Oh, I'm also looking at Paraguay," and I'm thinking, "Oh, that's interesting. Why is that?" So we'll find someone from Paraguay at some point to do the same thing. Anyway, so I've got another 4 subjects I want to jam through reasonably quickly, and then we will.
I've got a little intrigue on Paraguay.
Well, just 1 second. If this video works very well, we'll come back and do the more subjects in the next video. So Paraguay, I want to stay off at the moment. We can do that in the next video. So the next question, this is always something that comes up because many people are coming from the Western world to Romania, who visited Romania. They love Romania because it's so safe here. They say, I feel so safe here. There's very little crime. I can trust, like, I can leave my kids outside without any worries and this kind of stuff. This is true for the vast majority of Romania. There may be a few places in some cities. There may be some few places in the countryside, but the vast majority of Romania, compared with Western countries, is very, very safe. And everybody who lives here says that. All my other Americans and English people I know, they all say the same thing. They just feel very safe here. So I'm curious to know how safe it is there, and how are the police dealing with any kind of violent crime or serious crime, that kind of stuff.
In Chile, there's 2 sayings that they have that really explain the perspective of safety in Chile. First of all, there's only one police service in the whole country. They have, and that's called the Carabineros. And the Carabineros are the national police. So you don't have a city, county, state police. You only have the Carabineros, and you have the investigative police department, which is like the FBI. Mm-hmm. And there's a saying about those police that if you want to see what it looks like underneath the jail, try to bribe a Carabinero. Every year they put an example of some gringo that tried to bribe a Carabinero in the national news, and they make him do the perp walk. There's another saying as far as safety goes for families. Kindergarten children take the bus home from school, the public bus, on their own. Mm-hmm. Do you know why? Because they can.
Yeah.
And it's safe. In Chile, there's very little crime. Chileans are not violent people at all. The last murder that happened within a 30 to 45-minute drive around circumference from my house is over 2 years ago. The
Hmm.
little town I live near has never had a murder in recorded history. That's a long time.
Hmm.
There are people that die, there are accidents, yes, there's things like that, but there's very few crimes
Hmm.
of people shooting people or stabbing or whatever. There's there now. If you go to Santiago, they have plenty of crime and they'll be happy to give it to you. That's the
Hmm.
big city. That's almost 13 hours, 12 hours from where I live. Just stay away from any city. I'm not a city boy to begin with, but I know that's where you can find crime, is where the people are packed in.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can say about Romania that my experience here has been very good on that front. It feels very safe, and I think it's like a lot of Romanians who I've come across that who live in other countries look back very fondly at their childhoods in Romania. Because there was
Yeah.
something wholesome about it that seemed to have gone in the West to some extent. Right. Okay. Next question is, what's the deal with immigration in terms if someone wants to move there from a Western country, say from Europe, and they want to get a driving license? I ask about the driving license because you mentioned it when we spoke before, and
Yeah.
driving licenses are kind of important to people who want to live out in the countryside.
So immigration in Chile is a process of getting all your documents together and have them stamped and apostilled, and presenting them with an application to the Chilean government. When I came here in 2011 or 2013, when I came here in 2013, I sat across the desk from a lady, and that's how I did my immigration paperwork. Now it's all done online. And there's been a huge influx from the United Nations into Chile of refugees from other South American, Latin American countries. And because of that, we don't recommend anybody try to do it on their own anymore, because anybody go to bat for you. Okay. So basically, the root of it is, they will never tell you this, but the Chilean government wants to make sure that you're not going to be a financial burden on the social system of Chile. In other
Hmm.
words, you have enough money to support yourself.
Hmm.
Keep in mind, if you live in the city, it's more expensive to support yourself than if you live in the countryside, which they
Hmm.
call the campo. In relation to the driver's license in Chile, you can come here as a tourist on your US or European or wherever driver's license, as long as it's current
Hmm.
and you carry your passport with you at all times. All
Yes.
Chileans must have their national ID on them at all times. It's a Chilean
So,
government
so,
rule.
so wait a second. So I can drive there on my European driving license if I carry my passport with me.
Correct.
Yeah. So if I
Until
want to
you
move,
get your residency.
sorry.
Until you get your residency.
Okay. And when I get my residency, then how easy is it for me to get a driving license, a local one, or can I just keep my other one?
Okay, so they like to make it stupid. This is a
Right.
stupid bureaucratic thing. And this is how they do that. European universities and the US universities will not recognize the Chilean education system, and vice versa.
Hmm.
So we're not going to recognize that Ed has his college or high school diploma. And so we're going to make you take the 8th grade equivalency test in Spanish.
Hmm.
It doesn't cost anything. It's just a bureaucratic pain in the neck. So you take that exam, and they let you cheat on the exam, which Chileans are really big on cheating on exams.
Hmm.
And you pass that exam, and then you go take your driving test here in Chile, which costs about $40, $35. And that involves a written exam on a computer, and it's in English or
Hmm.
Spanish.
Hmm.
After that, you have a physical competency test to make sure you're not old and blind and can't hear. They check your eyes, your reaction time. And then if you pass all that, which are not too hard, don't study for the test. Don't answer the questions with what's logical, because you won't pass. And they
Hmm.
have some example questions. But anyhow, Go and after that, you take the actual driving test with the instructor or the test giver guy, and boom, you have your license. It lasts for about 5 years. I actually have my license right now.
Mhm.
What's the pain in the neck side is the eighth grade equivalency exam. You can actually take your iPhone in there, or your smartphone, and translate all the Spanish, or even look up the answers online. They don't care.
Mhm.
But in some areas, it's only offered once or twice a year. It's
Mhm.
a bottleneck, and it's a
Okay.
real pain. So my
Yeah.
wife, for
So
instance, has driven forever, and she doesn't have her license.
okay. So this is the kind of thing why this is going to get very interesting. Making more videos comparing your, we can
Yeah,
do the same with other countries because this, for example, is a. If I come here with my UK driving license, I can just exchange it for a Romanian one. Job done. That's it. Simple as
that
that.
makes sense.
I
Well,
had
why
some.
wouldn't they let you do that if they let you come here to begin with and drive on your license? Like, that's not good enough. I mean, now you have to go
Yeah.
through the whole testy
Yeah, so
bullshit. Excuse me,
that's
but
actually quite a big deal for a lot of people, because like if you're living in the
yeah,
countryside, not everybody can afford a driver, because
right.
so yeah, that's interesting. Okay,
I,
next,
I will say that in Chile, they do have a lot of Chileans who refuse to go take the test. And because of that, in Chile, when you drive, you will see the carabineros, and they'll have a white gauntlet glove that comes through the elbow,
Mhm,
like they're a rough rider, pulling people over every third car, and they're checking to make sure you're not drunk, your taxes have been paid on your car,
mhm,
and the uninsured motorists you have on your car is there, and your car is technically sound, the brakes work, and that your driver's license is current
mhm,
because they drive illegally all the time.
mhm. Interesting. Well, yeah, I've got to say that sounds like a win for Romania then, because it's very easy to get a driving license here if you've got you just convert it from wherever you come from. For most countries, I believe that's true. Okay, next subject is tax on businesses and income. Just the basic idea is um, how much taxation are you talking about if you're running a business there or you've got a job there? How does that all work?
Chile has a very complicated value added tax system. It can become just very bogged down. They have wholesale, which they don't call wholesale, and they have retail. Retail, everybody pays the tax. That's the end user pays the tax, and that tax on all goods and services is 19%.
Mhm.
Okay, so that bumps up. It ends up being 25% after you put all types of whatever in there. But for a business, they charge an individual 19% on their products or their services, and then they pass that on down the line to the next person.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, um, if I buy a pencil, I get charged. I'm buying 100 pencils. I pay 19% on 100%, 100
Yeah.
19% on those 100 pencils, and then I want to sell pencils to somebody else, and it's another 19%. It goes all the way down the line to gets to retail, but you push that tax on through. I
Yeah,
really don't like it.
you claim it back from the people you're
That's
paying
right.
it to, right? Yeah, so
That's
it's a
right.
value. It's like VAT, value added tax. And
It is.
if for example, are people like, for example, growing their own uh, chickens and food and stuff and just selling it to their friends for cash, that kind of stuff, or
They
is
don't care.
they
They
don't
don't
care?
care.
Yeah,
There's a lot of horse trading going here. They
yeah, yeah.
actually have ferias here. It's called a feria. It's
I
a
know,
flea
like,
market.
oh, I see. Sorry, I thought you were talking about farriers with horses. No, okay.
Yeah,
Um, okay, like so.
Feria, feria. And
Yeah,
and that is an open market. It's a free market. There are no taxes there.
yeah.
And it's kind of like the poor people's market, but I go there all the time. I guess I'm one of the poor people. I am, and I'm proud of that enough. But yeah, I like it. So you
You
can
can
buy
buy.
fish, veggies,
Yeah.
salmon. Yeah.
What's
Here, I'm gonna hurt
is
your
that
feelings.
is that all genuinely grown locally food or imported
Yes.
stuff?
Yes.
Because one of the
No.
things I've come across in Romania, there's a lot of imported food here that's passed off as locally grown. So you can go to the
No. Here.
markets and yeah,
Here in
you're
Chile,
go on. Sorry.
bananas, bananas and pineapples are one of the few things I see that they import.
Yeah.
Everything else can and is grown here. So like
Yeah.
the rest of the world's getting really bruised and old or really hard, like baseball avocados. Ours are vine ripened and they're in your store.
Mm-hmm.
So they grow a lot of that. We're independently wealthy country when it comes to production of our own food, including meats.
Right. Well, that's good. Next and final topic for this video is property rights. So what I mean by that is, how easy is it to buy a property? What are the risks involved? If you want to build on your property, what's involved in planning and permitting and that kind of stuff. I'm not so worried about the cities. Most of the people that I'm talking to are interested in rural locations and things that are a bit off grid. So if you buy a couple of hectares of land in the countryside and you want to build on it and you want to own it personally yourself, what's involved and how problematic is it?
Cash is king.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an immigrant to Chile or a tourist, you can buy land and you have all the rights a Chilean citizen has to that same land. They're very strict about that, and they're very proud that they offer really strong property rights to landowners. Why? Mm-hmm. Because in the 1970s, when they had a coup, they expropriated a lot of private property, and when that was that socialist government was overthrown, they came out of it saying, we will never take property from individuals again. Mm-hmm. And they don't care if you're a resident or a tourist, you can own real estate here. But there are some precautions, because there's thieves everywhere.
Yeah.
So
I'm not so worried about like scams. If you look at the scams, normally it's people doing things that are obviously dumb, right? Most of this.
Correct.
Yeah. So, what
factor there would be is there's no licensing for real estate agents in Chile.
Yeah.
So it's a Wild West. Any contract or any property that you purchase, the contract has to be written by an attorney, and you really want him to look at the documents of the property, because there's some properties that have weird ownership, like indigenous people, and they're not allowed to sell the property, but they'll sell it to you, but you won't own it, and they'll take it. So be careful.
Okay. And what about building permits in the rural areas? If you want to build on your land, what's the deal with that?
Badges, we don't need no stinking badges, man.
No permits.
Badges, we don't need no stinking badges. It's a line from the Humphrey Bogart movie where they said, "Where's your badges?" They don't have permits. They don't have any of that here.
Yeah.
In the cities, they do, but we're not talking about there.
No, but in the countryside, you just build what you want. Yeah. Okay.
There's a little intrigue in there. You can go register your property with the local government. It's called being inscribed. They will tax you. So I had friends that had 20 acres or 10 hectares, 24 acres, 10 hectares, and they paid $90 a year in property tax for their 2 houses with a swimming pool, fenced barn, the whole thing. And that's not a bad tax, property tax. I personally, I'm not registered, and I have agricultural use property. So I do not rent my property from the government.
And remind me where you were from in the US and why you chose Chile.
I'm originally from South Carolina, upstate South Carolina, Spartanburg, Boiling Springs to be exact. My parents had a cattle farm there, and I had a catharsis or a change of perspective in life in 2007 that made me aware that life's not about money. It's about your time you have with your family, and it's about living more free and more cleanly. And we do that here.
Yeah.
And there's no.
But how did you find Chile? What drove you? Because I had something in England, and I moved to Romania in 2001, and there's similar thinking, similar ideas. Just wanted to make a completely fresh start, and I discovered Romania by chance, and kind of got a bit
Yes.
lucky, to be honest, because it's one of the
Yes.
best countries in Eastern Europe. And I was curious how you discovered Chile. That was all.
Well, we were members of a dinner club, and other members would go throughout the world actually looking at different properties. I knew I didn't want to go to such a strong cultural shift that I wouldn't be able to ever even partially assimilate. So I didn't look at the Middle East because the language barrier, or Turkey, or the Eastern countries like Taiwan or anywhere in there. Australia was just too many things wanted to kill me there. New Zealand was too expensive. So then we ended up looking at South America, and some of our members of our dinner club back then in the late 2000s were already living here. We actually visited Uruguay twice, and we ran into a gringo there, a North American guy who was going to sell or rent me a house, and he said, I wouldn't rent it from me. I said, you what? Why are you telling me that? There's no advantage to that. He said, I would go to Chile. I said, why not Uruguay? He said, Uruguay's on the way down. And it was, and it continues to be. And Chile's on the way up. Chile has a more stable government, less corruption. And I need to point out something with the corruption. When you deal with corruption in Argentina and Uruguay, they're very symbiotic countries, okay? You're not just dealing with the corruption on the government level, you're dealing with corruption in perspective of that's a societal norm. So you can't do business or have your house built. I want my septic tank dug. Okay, well, I'll be out there tomorrow. Where are you? I'm not here. You got to pay me another $50 and then I'll come. That's corruption. You can't. That would frustrate me so bad because I don't like operating that way. That does not happen in Chile. It's not a societal norm here to bribe people or coerce them financially to give you services that they should be giving you. That's not to say we have good service in Chile. It just means we ain't getting bribed out of or hoodooed out of stuff.
Okay, cool. Well, I think we're good there, Jim. That's really informative and interesting. And we'll come back and we'll do some more if people like this video. We're going to put this up on my channel and see what kind of feedback we get. And
well, that works by me.
Cool. Okay. All right. Cheers, and see you. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye.